Hello guys, this is Big Fish, and on this particular video, I'm going to be answering some of the most embarrassing questions that I've ever received from friends and comment sections. This one is from Bionic Chen. All right, I'll explain to you what I think is the best way to explain your question, and let's just wait until we arrive at Bear so I can talk a little bit. Alright, so when you're about to choose between the two classes, there's actually quite a significant difference between the Lotus and the Primrose. Because Primrose is my main, I'm going to be talking a little bit more about the Primrose first. Okay, so basically the Primrose is a class that revolves around its speed to go in and out of fights. Alright, if you like classes that can go in and out of fights easy, well, the Primrose is the class for you. The class, however, have a couple of weaknesses, and that is the fact that if your opening skill misses, it's very difficult for you to actually maintain your combo, because the opening skill is crucial to the combo's success rate. The class itself is probably one of the only two classes in the game that has two charge type abilities. Alright, so it has Frigid Burst. The skill is an instant stab, so you will disappear for like a brief second and blink in front of your enemy and stab them. It causes a stun on hit. Right? This one is very fast, but the range is very small. It's very short, if I could say. And it has super armor, so it's actually quite solid. The only problem is its range is very short. Now the second opening skill is the cold snap. When this skill is also a charge type skill, as you can see, he leaps in front of it leaps vertically in front of your opponent and charge. This skill is actually quite fast, but people can still see it. Now that is a big difference between this and the Frigid Burst. Alright, so when the idea that you want to use Cold Snap instead of Frigid Burst is when you're against people who actually want to man up against you. Now this skill in particular is a lot better than the Frigid Burst, because this one actually allows you to knock back. Alright, so one of the issues with the stun lock ability is you can't stack two of the same disables, so you can't stack stun and stun, but you can stack stun and daze, or daze and knockback, or knockback and stun and daze. You can do those. You can stack those disables, but you can't stack the same one. So yeah, one of the only things that I think is pretty good as well with the cold snap is this thing gives invincibility, so you actually cannot take damage while you're jumping. That takes about 0.2 seconds. Now, one of the problems that I have with the Primrose class in particular in the ranked or normal arenas is the fact that other classes have, let's see the other classes, right? I'll show you. Let's see Void Knight, alright? I'll show you. This is a Void Knight. My Void Knight actually looks pretty hot, as you can see. Whew, damn. The Void Knight skills, let's check. This thing has the skill Nightfall. It lasts quite long, around 0.5 seconds until the combo is done. Until the skill is finished. It has super armor and it dazes. Alright. Then we have the skill called Dark Mist, which is basically a really long duration super armor plus invincibility. So this thing has a long duration super armor, right? And the third one, it has a forward guard, which is called the Fury of Kamasylvia, right? This thing is quite long. This thing lasts for about 1 second, because you need to count, because the forward guard actually persists from the moment you start the combo until you get your hands down. So it's quite long. All right. So yeah, it's got a really good kit with a lot of super armor, with a really long duration super armor, but the Primrose simply just don't have the same thing. Now this is an issue. Why? Because super armor is quite crucial in a team fight or in a duel. Super armor is crucial, right? And so unfortunately the Primrose have very little super armor. It exists in 2 of the charge skills, and these each only last 0.2 seconds. Frigid Burst probably worse, 0.1 second, because it's basically a blink, and the moment you arrive, the super armor is gone. So yeah, you gotta time this skill very carefully. And the other one is actually on the Petal Ward. Now this Petal Ward is a counter mechanic. This is one of the only 3 classes in the game actually has the counter mechanic. This is one of them. So it goes in a defensive pose. If hit, it was gonna stab. And if you have this one, flow overpower on, it will do 3 hits. All right. This thing deals more damage as if you timed it more correctly, as in if you use it clutch, like right before the attack animation actually clips on your hitbox. If you actually use the skill like around 0.2 seconds below, or like 0.1 second or 0.2 seconds before the attack reaches, so this is basically like you will like instantly counter, it will deal more damage. But if you don't, the damage will be significantly reduced. And so this is very circumstantial. This skill does last quite long. If you persist this one, this thing lasts for a total of 3 seconds, but it basically does nothing. So because you can't move when you're using the skill, right? And it does nothing as well. If the enemy actually like goes away, it doesn't do anything. It's literally a useless spell if the enemy is playing defensive, right? So with this thing in consideration, this Primrose class is a lot more suited to people who are a lot more like you like those clutches, like you like playing classes that have a lot of outplay potential. This is the class for you. Why? Because there are some instances when you can actually one-shot someone with this at a perfect timing, if the gap between the AP and the DP is far enough. Yeah, I guess that's for Primrose. If you like those kind of classes that basically plays in the brink of death, and you like fast classes that can actually go in and out of fights, this is the class for you. There's no faster class in the game but the Primrose. The Primrose is the fastest class in the game. All right. Now let's move on to the Lotus. All right. The Lotus class is a bit different. Why? Because the Primrose is not good at manning up. The Primrose's skill set have very low super armor, and because of that duration, the low duration, it's not a class that is suited to man up. On the other hand, this class in particular, Lotus, is the strongest class to man up with. Basically, this class has one of the most broken ass skill in the game, which is this one. It's called Blood Moon. Right? This skill is basically imbalanced, I could say. It has only 6-second cooldown. Like, imagine that. And this thing deals 273% damage, and it hits 7 times. I'm not gonna count the entire thing, but let's just say it's 250, right? Let's just say it's 250. 250 times 4 is 1000%. Times 3 is 750. So it deals basically, give or take, around 1,900% damage, or 1,850% damage, and that's at level 1. All right. And also, it has a hit, so the more hits, the more chance for it to deal extra damage. So you probably deal more damage than what it is. So yeah, that's one point. Now, this class also have a counter mechanic, but unlike the Primrose, this counter mechanic is pretty much useless before you get the level 3. You need the level 3 for you to actually get the super armor and the bonus retaliation, and you need level 2 to actually get the super armor, because if you don't, then it's just a forward guard. Forward guard basically means that it can block enemies from in front of you, not behind you. If the enemy hits behind you, like how some classes like Hasashin, or the Hasashin skill actually rotates and it hits you from all sides. So in some instances it can actually hit you from behind, so it will cancel the counter. All right, it's quite bad. The class itself also have a couple issues, and that is the fact that its charge type skill does not have super armor. Now this is an issue. Why? Because like when you have a super armor on your charge, it means that you can basically be guaranteed to go to your opponent and cannot be stopped. But this time, it does not have it, so you can be stopped. Now, this is quite a big deal, but at close range, this class have one of the best manning up skill, which is Blood Moon. It also have a counter mechanic, so enemies can't really man up against you. If they hit you, you're gonna counter back and daze on hit, and you're gonna knock down on the last hit. So this class is really good at manning up. If you like classes that excel close range, this Lotus class is the perfect class for you, because honestly there's no stronger class in the game that is capable of manning up against a Lotus. Why? Because this is basically a stealth attack. This thing hurts a lot. I'm telling you, this skill hurts a lot. And one of the things that makes it even more deadly is the fact that enemies can't fight you back, because if they fight you back, they're gonna get knocked back. And what's even more amazing is you can't be grabbed, because this skill also has stealth. And its cooldown is only 6 seconds. Like, think about that. It's crazy, man. Like, and in case you haven't watched, I got one video where I'm showing you the longest stun lock duration in the entire game. This thing deals 8 consecutive skills, and it can basically stun you until you wake up again for 7.5 seconds. 7.5 seconds, and you can't move. Damn, man, that's insane. You know, like, oh my god. Well, basically that is how the classes go. If you like classes that excel at like clutch plays and utilizes the counter mechanic a lot more, and you like playing like the class in a Brink of Death, you probably want to pick the Primrose class. If you like classes that can actually man up and fight and just be strong close range, you want to use the Lotus. And that's about it, guys. Thank you for watching, and I hope this brightens up your ideas about which class to pick between the two. I love both of them. I think both classes have their own perks, but because I picked the Primrose, so yeah, I'm probably gonna side more into the Primrose. Until I see you again on the next video, see you.